Shawnee. Welcome back. Guess what time it is? It is time for our weekly roundup, where I go over all of the eyeshadow palettes I've used over the past week, and I rank them from least liked to most liked. Now this week I have 7 slots. I have combinations of palettes. I have some single shadows, and I have some favorite brands, all represented today in the 7 slots. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. At number 7, I have a Pat McGrath favorite brand palette, one of her motherships, and this is Utopian Dream. This was a look that was really simple, very straightforward, very easy, very just like, I'm gonna put 2 shades on my eyes and call it a day. So this was like most of my looks here for work, and I wanted a pinky vibe, which I want to say from motherships like 7 on, you're gonna get a pinky vibe. From 6 forward, it's like a little bit more diversity. So I wanted a pinky vibe. I just wanted something really easy, simple. Pop this out of the carton packaging. Just went ahead and did a really quick look. I do feel like this palette is sort of a combination of Divine Rose 1 and 2, kind of a bit of a mashup, but I do find some pretty, if you really look closely, some differences between 1, 2, and a little bit of Utopian Dream, but this one's definitely a like mishmash of those two. The Divine 1 is a lot cooler, I would say, and I really like that one for things where I want to look very nice and put together, but with a little Pat McGrath twist. And then Divine Rose 2 has one of my favorite shimmers called Sextraterrestrial. 1, I like the name, and 2, is just a really nice color, and 3, that was the first Pat McGrath mothership I ever purchased. So if you're looking for like a boom pow in your face kind of look, I don't feel like you're gonna really get that from Pat McGrath. You can, but I would say the motherships, mainly the motherships, kind of lean more towards, you're gonna get a nice, pretty, chill look with a little bit of like, not even sass, just a little bit like, love it. So that is at number 7. At number 6, because I just, like to keep Pat McGrath in my life, another mothership, and this is actually Midnight Sun. So you can see that this has a very different vibe from Utopian Dream. Utopian Dream has like this pinky, sort of like peppy vibe, while don't even. Midnight Sun has a bit of a deeper, kind of warm, or kind of like fall rich kind of colors. I don't know what this is, but it's kind of gross. And I did another simple look with this. Honestly, a lot of times if I'm wanting something quick, I'll pull out a mothership palette, I'll throw on one of the shimmers or whatevs, and throw in a matte, and there we go. That's the look. So these 2 were ones that I used this week, again, for work. And yeah, this is one of my favorite brands, Patricia McGrath. And for some of my clients, we actually talk about makeup. So whenever I know that someone is coming and we've talked about makeup and we've talked about brands, I will try to wear that brand. It sounds kind of crazy in my head now, but I had some folks where we talked about Patricia. We've talked about Pat McGrath in sessions, and so I wanted to make sure to use some motherships this week. At number 5, I have the Adept Flying Fiddles palette. First of all, I really love the packaging, and then here is the palette. Now, I like this palette. I think a while ago, like searched the last year or so, I did a video where I looked at or used the palette to do looks that had all of the shades. Like each look had a different combination of shades from here, so I was able to try each shade to figure out if I like the palette, and I do. Like, again, this has like similarity in terms of the tones or colors of the Midnight Sun, but always, again, you can make any palette, I feel like, easy to use by just taking 1 to 3 shades and creating a color. So you can always just go for a shimmer, pop on a matte. You can use 2 mattes, 1 matte, whatever it is, but I really like the tones in here. And I like the look. Very simple, very straightforward, very work friendly, office friendly. Anyways, at number 4, my other favorite brand, Danessa Myricks, cousin. So I like this Groundwork Defining Neutrals palette. Like, this is the first of her palettes that she put out, I want to say, from what I can recall, that wasn't just like a bunch of shimmers. So she has this like putty sort of consistency paired with like a velvety powder. And so there is a look that I always do with this palette, essentially, where I just take one of the lighter shades, one of the darker shades, do a bit of a gradient, kind of neutral, natural look, and maybe a liner with tourmaline, which is the black shade here. Now, I've said this before, but what works best is if you use like putty shade and then you put the powder part on top to kind of like set it. I find that it helps the shadow to like last longer, because honestly, if you're using any kind of creamy thing, it can crease on your eyes. I don't know about your eyes, but you know, you get creases sometimes. So setting the little putty thing, I think, helps to make the shadow last longer. Now, this look is one of like a classic look, one of the classic looks for me. I usually pair it with a red lipstick or some other pop of color. And I think on this day, I did some like bright yellow earrings. So that was like bringing everything together. But this palette, I use it all the time. Like at this point, I'm like, I really want to just, I need to finish it. I want to be done so I can move on to the fresh one I have from Tracy. But yeah, I love this palette, honestly. Are people still using it? I love it, okay? And sometimes I try to take it out of the rotation, so I'm not always using it, but it always works its way right back on in. At number 3, I have a combination, 2 palettes that I used from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. That is their Surge palette and their Blends palette. Both of these are 30 pan palettes. Blends is just 30 matte shades. Kind of covers the rainbow here. I think every matte you'd kind of need is in here, or every shade is represented here. And I paired that with the Surge palette. That's a combination of mattes, shimmers, and some neon shades. So I just felt like using Blend Bunny and these are the first two palettes I believe I bought from the brand. Just wanted to combine them. I could definitely just have used Surge and done a look. I could have just done an all matte look with blends, but I don't know. I just wanted to compare them because I wanted to. Oh, and I like the look. It was like a blue look. I just wanted to, I feel like the rest of the week had been very like chill, neutral, like a little color sort of looks. And I wanted just something bolder and brighter. And yeah, so that's why I used these 2 palettes. At number 2, I have the Undergrowth palette from Cosmic Beauty. This is a 20 pan palette. I really just see this as a green palette, even though there are other tones in here. But I don't know, the packaging, I'm like, there's green there, and then there are green eyeshadow shades in here, so it's a green palette to me. And surprisingly for me, I continue to really enjoy this palette. Do I wear green a lot? I can't even think of whether or not I do, but sometimes like palettes that are just like one color theme, you know what I mean? Like you can either, you like it, you love it, or you hate it, you know what I'm saying? So this was, I really, really, really liked this look. I don't know why, I think I just felt cute and happy. And yeah, I like the combination of shades, shimmers, and mattes in here. I will say typically these lighter shades, not my faves as much. I think there are like two of Cosmic Beauty palettes that I find there are some lighter shades that I'm not as much of a fan, but most of their palettes I really, really enjoy. I think the last ones that I've gotten are Neutrals, Cooltrals, Undergrowth, and then the Lovers palette. And I would say the ones before that are the ones I like more. But this is one that I really wanted to use this one for some reason. I wanted like a warm, glittery, goldy green look, and this definitely delivered. Now at number 1, it was kind of surprising, but kind of not because of just who I am. And it is the look I did with my purple single shadows. Now, it's surprising because I'm like, wow, look at that. I just like the real straightforward purple look from single shadows. But then I'm like, look at this. This is such a lovely combination of shades, and I did that, okay? So, yeah, they're in this side of my little kit pack. These are shades that I used for something else at work like 2 weeks ago. But I really found this look to be just like vibrant. The shades came together so well with just like some different tones in there. Like, I don't know, it was like bright and pretty and just like, yes, is what it was. So that was my favorite look of the week, though I pretty much liked every week or every look that I did this week. Notice that there were some like neutral, easy, run-of-the-mill combos and looks, but then I did throw in that pop of color ever so often. So that was it. I think that's it. Make sure you let me know what you have used this past week, what you plan to use this week, if you want me to do any sort of color combination or whatevs. And yeah, I will take all of that into consideration. I hope that some of this was helpful, and I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. I would love it if you like the video, and I would love it even more if you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.